अब आ रही है आवाज?
जी आ रही है।
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वलक़द अख़ज़ल्लाहु मीसाक़ बनी इस्राईल वबअथना मिनहुम इस्नै अशर नक़ीबा वक़ाल अल्लाहु इन्नी मअकुम लइन अक़मतुमुस्सलाता व आतैतुमुज़्ज़काता व आमनतुम बिरुसुली व अज़्ज़रतुमूहुम व अक़रज़तुमुल्लाह क़र्ज़न हसना व अज़्ज़रतुमूहुम وعزرتموهم الله قرضا حسنا لأكفرن عنكم سيئاتكم ولأدخلنكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار فمن كفر بعد ذلك منكم فقد ضل سواء السبيل فبما نقضهم ميثاقهم لعناهم وجعلنا قلوبهم قاسية يحرفون الكلم عن مواضعه ونسوا حظا مما ذكروا به ولا تزال تطلع على خائنة منهم إلا قليلا منهم فاعف عنهم واصفح إن الله يحب المحسنين ومن الذين قالوا إنا نصارى أخذنا ميثاقهم فنسوا حظا مما ذكروا به فأغرينا بينهم العداوة والبغضاء إلى يوم القيامة وسوف ينبئهم الله بما كانوا يصنعون يا أهل الكتاب قد جاءكم رسولنا يبين لكم كثيرا مما كنتم تخفون من الكتاب ويعفو عن كثير قد جاءكم من الله نور وكتاب مبين يهدي به الله من اتبع رضوانه سبل السلام ويخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور بإذنه ويهديهم إلى صراط مستقيم لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله هو المسيح ابن مريم قل فمن يملك من الله شيئا إن أراد أن يهلك المسيح ابن مريم وأمه ومن في الأرض جميعا ولله ملك السماوات والأرض وما بينهما يخلق ما يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير وقالت اليهود والنصارى نحن أبناء الله وأحباؤه قل فلم يعذبكم بذنوبكم بل أنتم بشر ممن خلق يغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ يا أهل الكتاب قد جاءكم رسلنا يبين لكم على فترة من الرسل أن تقولوا ما جاءنا من بشير ولا نذير فقد جاءكم بشير ونذير والله على كل شيء قدير صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah khair, Abdul Ghani. So, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So, we will go forward in this chapter, in which the main discussion is about Ahl al-Kitab, Bani Israel, the Christians and Jews. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَقَدْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ وَبَعَثْنَا مِنْهُمُ اثْنَيْنِ عَشْرَ نَقِيبًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took oath or covenant from Bani Israel and appoint from among them 10 captains or leaders. 12 captains or leaders. So our religion gives the concept of imamat. Imamat means the leadership in the religious affairs. So when Musa alayhi salam's ummah was chosen to carry forward the message, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed 12 of them as the Naqib, captains, Amir or Imams. They were supposed to lead the people in religious affairs. And the covenant was وَقَالَ اللَّهُ إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when they took the covenant or the oath, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help and Allah's blessing was on that Jamaat. So what was that covenant about? It was the same thing as we have it. The concept, the Sharia might a little bit different, the law might a little bit different, but the basic essential ingredients of that was the same thing. So believe in oneness of God, and as-salatu, to establish regular praise, wa atiyuz zakata, and almsgiving, wa amantu bi rasuli, and all the prophets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, they have to believe in them, and wa azartumuhum, and to support them, wa aqraztumullahu qaradan hasna, and to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a good loan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in turn promising that the people who establish regular prayers, they give the almsgiving, and they believe in Prophet, and they assist the Prophet, and they obey the Prophet. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove all their sins, and will so Allah will enter them into the Jannatin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. So Allah will enter them into the gardens in which rivers would be flowing. فَمَنْ كَفَرَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ. And after taking the covenant, after taking the oath, if somebody break their promise, break their oath, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lanat will be on those people, and they are the one who have deviate from the righteous path. So when we accept, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to take oath of all the new converts. So oath is an important part of the thing that, basically Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took different oath with different people. So the simple oath was the belief in oneness of God, not to worship idols. And in the early days, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam even took the oath not to take lives of their own children, because out of poverty, some of the Arabian tribes would kill their own children. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forbade that. And, about the major things that do not associate any with. So all the covenant that was taken, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing, just like Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to take oath or the covenant from the Muslims, similar practice was done. So on Muslims, on our laws, which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prescribed, namaz, zakat, almsgiving, and giving charity, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referred as giving the loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like when we give loan to somebody, we get it back. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anybody who gives loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will find all of that is returned to him and multiple fold from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So same thing was given. So that was the word. When in Sufi orders, when they take the oath, this is the similar thing, that the first and the basic ingredient of Sufi oath is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his prophet. And particular order have particular kind of oath. Some of them, like whatever the problems are in that society, so the sheikh or the murshid, they take an oath that do not engage in that thing. So any society where interest or the business corruption is there, they will take an oath that do not involve in any interest giving activities or interest dealing activities or any corrupted business activity. Some places where the sexual permissiveness is there, so they are taking an oath to be bashful and to protect their chastity. So these are the different oaths, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that those people, they broke their oath because Bani Israeli or the Jews, they took the oath that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send prophet to them, that they will believe in them and they will assist them. But they did not happen. They disobeyed multiple prophets, and they even went to the extent, disobeying is one thing, but to kill prophet is the extreme form of disobedience, and that's what they did. There are multiple prophets that they had killed. So like Bani Israeli prophets, like if you say that all the children of Banu Ishaq, the children of Ishaq alayhi salam, so there were multiple prophets. The first line of prophet was Ishaq alayhi salam, his son Yaqub alayhi salam, and his son in turn Yusuf alayhi salam. And this children of Yusuf alayhi salam, or the family of Yusuf alayhi salam, they settled in Egypt, and for the long time there's no mention of prophets. Allah knows the best, till Musa alayhi salam, when the status of Jews were reduced to slave and laborers in Egypt. So that's when Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam emerged, and he took the exodus out of Egypt of Jewish people, and they settled in the promised land of Palestine. And after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they went through many trials and tribulation because of their disobedience. Because whenever a prophet came, they would not fully. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restored so they even lost their kingdom, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then restored it through Dawud alayhi salam and his son Sulaiman alayhi salam. And from Sulaiman alayhi salam, there were mention of three prophets. One, it is not mentioned by name, but Bible referred them to as Samuel or Samuel alayhi salam. And in Quran, only a mention of one prophet. And one prophet, he appointed Talut as the king. And one of the soldiers in that Talut army was Dawud alayhi salam. So Dawud alayhi salam managed to kill Jalut. And that's how the kingdom was established for Bani Israel in Palestine. And his son Sulaiman alayhi salam was given a vast kingdom and his progeny. But later on, they again disobeyed what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the oath of obeying the prophets. When they disobey that, they stopped giving the alms or the zakat, or they stopped establishing the regular prayers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away their dominance in their land, and they again became homeless. Bakhtasar, he attacked of Babylon. He attacked and ransacked the whole of Jerusalem. And the prophet at that time, Daniel alayhi salam, he took him captive and took to the Babylon. And after that, many prophets came, and the last of batch of the prophets was Zakaria alayhi salam, Yahya alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salam. And these were the prophets. And after that, there was about 600 years. There was no prophet between, because what they did, again, Isa alayhi salam, he showed them the clear signs. He could resurrect the dead people. He could make the clay pigeons and blow into them, and they will fly like a living bird. And he could cure the lepers, which was untreated disease at that time. And he could give the vision to the people who were born blind. After seeing the clear signs, and Isa alayhi salam, even when he was a baby, he spoke from the lap of his mother and testified that I'm prophet, my mother is innocent and pure lady, a chaste lady. And when he grew up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him many miracles, and he could tell, if somebody come to meet him, he could tell him that what did you eat at your own dinner table, or what did you have stored in your own pantry. So after seeing this clear signs, what they tried to do, Jews, they tried to accuse him of all the wrong things. And they went to the Jews in the Jerusalem, they had their own rule in Jerusalem, but the supreme rule was of the Romans. So they went to the Roman governor. His name was Pontius. So, and they say that, that this is Jesus, and he's doing the sorcery and all kind of false things. So they tried to frame him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him. And after that, since they had disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have break their covenant. So there was no prophet from Isa alayhi salam to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what it is mentioned in the following ayats, that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after a long wait of 600 years, and they were waiting desperately for a prophet. So it was a very bad situation that they said that, oh, we do not have anybody to warn us. We do not have anybody to give us glad tidings. And when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, and they had the clear indication where would prophet would emerge, where would he live. But when he came, they again disobeyed Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only a fraction of the Jews, they converted to Islam at the hands of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in the where is that? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَبِمَا نَقْصِهِمْ مِيثَاقَهُمْ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَجَعَلْنَا قُلُوبَهُمْ قَاسِيَةً. So what they had done, they had broken their oath, and what they had done is that because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had hardened their heart. That believing person should be very kind-hearted, very soft-hearted, but يُحَرِّفُونَ كَلَامِ عَنْ مَوَازِهِ. So they also changed the meaning, the context of all the books that they had it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had first given them the Torah or Torah to Musa alayhi salam, and then Dawud alayhi salam was again given the Zabur. So they had those two holy books. But what they started doing it, they started manipulating these two holy books. This Injil did not reveal till Isa alayhi salam. So here in this particular ayah, the topic is of Bani Israel. So they had two books. So what they would do, they would manipulate. They will either change it or change the meaning of that, how it should be applied for their own selfish. يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلَامَ عَنْ مَوَازِهِ وَنَسُوا حِزًّا مِمَّا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. And they will forget or they will ignore a particular ayat that will not be in their وَلَا تَنَازُوا تَتَّلِعُوا عَلَى الْقَائِنَةُ مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا خَلِيلٌ مِنْهُمْ. And what they will do, they will change it to their own. And among few of them, they were the one who had repented and corrected themselves. وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ فَنَسُوا حِزًّا. And now, just like in the previous part, Bani Israel was mentioned. Now, Christians are mentioned, and Christians are mentioned as Nasara, that they would call themselves Nasara. And when they were given this book by Isa alayhi salam of Injil, so they again did the same thing, that they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so what is Christianity? Christianity first emerged as only a sect of Judaism. So Isa alayhi salam, he only addressed his own kind, which was Jews. So all these people, his grand uncle Zakaria alayhi salam, his uncle Yahya alayhi salam, they were all considered the scholars of the prophet of Bani Israel. But when Isa alayhi salam came, so Isa alayhi salam only addressed and propagated his teachings among Jewish people. But much later, they realized that these Jewish people have failed them, so they would mention a thing, a Gentile. So they said that Jews have failed us, so now you have to get out of this Jewish limitation and bring this teaching to Gentile, which means non-Jewish people. And that's how the Christianity started. Christianity started as a sect of Judaism, but now it was made available. So in the early Christians, there were only Jewish people who had converted to the teachings of Christianity. But later on, it became. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in this يا أهل الكتاب قد جاءكم رسولنا يبين لكم كثير مما كنتم تخفون من الكتاب ويعفو عن كثير. So, O people of the book, among them a prophet had come, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had come, so they would hide something which was not in their best interest. But when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, he mentioned all of them. What was there in the previous books? What was the one you were hiding? What was the one you revealed it? Or what was the one that you had misinterpreted or misrepresented? But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also mentioning, he forgave a lot of people. He revealed what was hidden from the general people, and what was, and he forgave a lot of. كنتم تخفون من الكتاب ويعفو عن كثير قد جاءكم من الله نور وكتاب مبين. And there's another great news about that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that to you, قد جاءكم من الله نور وكتاب مبين. So now there's among many fitnas, even in our people, that they are saying that do not mention Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Nur. Nur is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying? قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ, that indeed to you came min Allahi nurun. So he's mentioning Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as nurun wa kitabu mubin. So those duruds in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned nurun ala nur. So some of the Salfis or Najadis, they object to that nur, the word nur is exclusive for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here in Quran, and this particular ayat, make a note of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as min Allahi nuru wa kitabu mubin. Some even Salfis, they even mention that nur means Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is distinctly saying nuru wa kitabu mubin. So this is our take on that. So in the next ayah, Yahdi bi Allahi tawa wa ridwanu wa subulus salam wa yukhrijuhum min az-zulumati ila an-nur. And those who follow that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take them out of the darkness and guide them to the nur. Bi'izni wa yahdihim ila siratin mustaqim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide those people who believe in the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Quran to the right path. And in the next thing, لَقَدْ كَفَّرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. And who are the kafirs? Those people who believe that, who declare that they are Christians and all that, but ma'azallah, they believe in Trinity. They believe that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam is the God, or he is the son of the God, they are again kafir, because it is shirk. So we mentioned in the previous lessons, what is shirk? To believe in any God, any deity other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shirk. To believe anything needs and wants that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shirk. To believe any son or father or any human relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shirk, and to make any image of. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is denouncing Christian practices. They are engaged in all of those. They believe in Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Which is it was not the original teaching of Isa alayhi salam. He never mentioned that. It was added much later on the influence of the Roman religions, in which they had concept of Trinity, that Father, Zeus, and Son, and all that. So inspired them. They did the all the alteration into the teachings of the Christianity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that just like other people, Isa alayhi salam, he was without doubt a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him the clear signs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them. At that time when Isa alayhi salam was sent, Isa alayhi salam, it was very much a medical society in which they could cure all kind of medical ailments, but they were helpless against three kind of ailments. They could not cure a leper. Leprosy was a widespread disease there. A person who was blind, they could not cure that. And person who died of during the treatment, they could not resurrect him, or they could not revive him. So Isa alayhi salam was given these three miracles and a lot other miracles, so they could identify. But Mazallah, he never would declare that he was Ruhullah, but he was never declared that he was a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he never say that I am God. So this is an addition. They started making images of Isa alayhi salam, Bibi Maryam, and they engage in this shirk. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَقَدْ كَفَّرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that Masih ibn Maryam. So Isa alayhi salam was not the son of God as Christians claim. He was the son of Bibi Maryam. And by the way, Bibi Maryam is the only woman named in Quran by name. None of the other women, Nuh alayhi salam's wife is not mentioned by name. Bibi Asiya is not mentioned by name. Zulaikha or any of the noble ladies, they are not mentioned in the Quran by name, except Bibi Maryam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best. She has the honor of the only name mentioned in the Quran by name. Just like Zaid is the only Sahabi mentioned in the Quran by name. So Bibi Maryam is the only woman. وَقَالَتَ الْيَهُودُ النَّصَارَى نَحْنُ أَبْنَاءُ اللَّهِ وَأَحِبَّاؤُهُ. So these Christians and Jews and Christians say that we are Ma'azallah, children of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved us. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that why ask them, so if that is the case, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish them for their instead of that, they should say that we are the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can punish whoever he wants and can forgive anybody. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ. And all of the will be returned to him. يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولُنَا يُبَيِّنُ لَكُمْ عَلَى فِطْرَةٍ مِّنَ الرُّسُولِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا جَاءَنَا مِن بَشِيرٍ وَلَا نَذِيرٍ. So for the 600 years, when Bani Israel or the humanity was without any prophet, nobody came to warn him or give the glad tidings. Now, after 600 years, when Nabi Muhammad has come, and he is giving the glad tidings to those people who accept Islam and do the good deeds, and those people who do the bad deeds and reject faith, There's a punishment for that. So why are you rejecting? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them, food for the thought. So inshallah, I'll stop here, and if there is any questions, inshallah, I will welcome that.